So, Starfield is releasing real soon. Currently, we're all not sure whether it will turn out to be good or bad. We do know there is going to be a lot to talk about this game. So, there's a ton of current public information out there already. We're just here to analyse some of the stuff you may not have realised. We're going to have a look at the top 5 things, what to expect in Starfield as well. So, let's get straight into it. Number 5. First things first, can it be understated just how big this game is seemingly going to be? From all the pre-release information we've heard and we've seen about it, it seems as though it's just going to be gigantic. Looking at previous Bethesda games from the Fallout series, there was a single city with an area just simply around it. The Elder Scrolls games, incredibly large, set in entire countries, but Starfield, approximately 1,000 planets across 100 solar systems. So it's not a full galaxy, but it is still gigantic. And with an enormous amount of space, and because of that, there must be lots of things to do in it, surely? So the main quest line is apparently going to be long itself. It's Bethesda estimates around 30 to 40 hours, which is way longer than any of the other main quest games. But what we're most looking forward to is the side quests. That will always ensure the game is way longer to review and to complete. But even if you just stick to the main storyline and avoid everything else, you'll probably still get your money's worth in all fairness. So the main story is about the quest to find these mysterious artifacts with the help of groups called constellations. These are explorers and adventurers. And the game is definitely going to be a kind of like a classic sci-fi vibe with its story and its settings. Currently, we know there are 4 major settlements. So you've got New Atlantis, the capital of United Colonies, and the biggest city Bethesda apparently has ever built. Then there's Aquila City, with the capital of the Freestar Collective, which Bethesda described as a loose confederation of 3 different star systems. But we'll see what they are. It sounds more like a space cowboy game, as you know, Red Dead Channel, love it. The 3rd city we know is called Neon, so it's a cyberpunk-inspired city, which is a stark contrast to how welcoming there are between the 2 cities. And seemingly there's a lot more besides that as well. And there's a ton of minor settlements as well. So these places are apparently just going to be too big to elaborate just from the trailers. And we're looking at it, it's too hard to review it and understand the details. So some of these locations do look bigger though than other major cities in the Bethesda games. So looking forward to it. Number 4. Some of the favourite parts of Skyrim are the faction quests. So these are organisations that you can join. They do have their own stories to play through. They're smaller than main quests, but I do have larger and more elaborate random side quests. So completing these usually give unique rewards. It sounds as though Starfield is going to have a faction sideline quest as well. Because of all this, the pre-release information we've seen and we've watched, we can see there's going to be loads of them. So there's Constellation initially. So we're guessing this is going to be the main storyline quest. Freestar Collective, Rygan Industries, and a corporation of Neon. The developers have just confirmed it's a faction that you can join. Then you've got Crimson Fleet, which sounds really interesting in all fairness. It sounds like there's going to be space pirates, or there'll be major enemy groups that you'll be encountering on a regular basis. So we're not sure if Bethesda has come straight up and said that you can join them, you can be part of them, but it definitely feels there may well be an enemy group against them. So it does sound like you'll be infiltrating the Crimson Fleet, and there's a speculation that's from us initially. So the last main faction is currently the most mysterious, and these guys are called the House of Arun. But we know is currently there's a snake involved, whether they worship, whether they're not 100% sure. But this one Bethesda's been really, really tight-lipped about. So we're not sure if you can join them or not, but at least they'll leave other main factions. So we know you can join the game, which means it'll be really engaging throughout. Number 3. So we all know about the thousands of planets there are so far. We're not sure they are just for show. So you can actually land on them. You can explore most of them. When you're in a planetary orbit, you can scan for resources or select a landing location. So this isn't Mass Effect 2, where you just gather resources from orbit. You actually land on the planets. You can wander around, you can find hotspots, you can look at plant life, you can deal with sort of hostile aliens and really explore what's in the land. The planets do look really different throughout. You've got different atmospheres, different biomes. Some have got forest, wastelands, and others have got massively large, empty, blasted moons. But it does sound too good to be true, so let's keep in mind they may just be initially handcrafted, they may just be there to show, they may be similar, but they could actually be procedurally generated. So considering how huge the planets actually are, and how many of them are, I'm not sure if you'll be able to go to every random planet and have a variety compared to the others. But the speculation from the initial parts are saying that Bethesda is going to make incredibly handcrafted things that they hide away on all different planets. So does that mean we'll be able to review every planet and have something different? We will see, and it's going to be very close to it. So we will see. Number 2, space travel. So this is going to be a large part of Starfield. But what's constantly surprised us and reviewed in how in depth the complex spaceships can actually be. So it's not simply just a model you look at during the loading screens, you go between planets, you can actually pilot the ship. You can get into dogfights, you can travel between systems, you can scan, review, and look all across the galaxy. So the main thing though is the regular on-foot combat. So it does it reminiscent more like a Fallout 4, but in space. But things are going to play a little bit differently. So according to the developers, ship combat is intentionally slow-paced and deliberate. So they won't be like a big Star Wars shootout. So it's going to feel very different. This doesn't mean it's not going to be basic. To use your weapons, your shields, your engine, you need to allocate power. There's limited power supply, so you have to be selective when you use your power, which is quite reminiscent of the Faster Than Light game. But there's an element of strategy. So when you need to power up or certain systems to deal with, you may need to use specific situations to work on your power-up shields and review tank damage to ensure your engines are maximum and to make sure they don't go away. So the kind of decisions it sounds like you're going to have to make when you're flying in the real-world game. But ship customization is definitely a huge feature, and it's going to be quite interesting. So you're going to start off with a real basic ship. You may be able to buy pre-built ones or design one from yourself, but it's going to be entirely modular. So you can attach, remove parts however you want, as long as requirements are met as standard. I'm guessing that it's going to have like landing gear, exit ramps, kind of docking systems, rockets, cockpits, loads of things and tons of stuff you can customize your ship with. But the downside of ships is obviously going to bring Starfield back to reality. It doesn't seem to have a transition from outside of your ship to the inside. So when you're landing on planets, it's like a cutscene. So it's something you're going to be doing in game. So it's ultimately a little bit disappointing about that, but it's still good to know you're trying to avoid setting up unreasonable expectations, so they're quite clear and upfront with it. So space is obviously going to be the place where you fight and you go into planets, and when you can go for other ships and engage with piracy along with other things. But you're not going to be flying alone. Along with 20 named companions, you can still get along other NPC groups you can hire. So part of your crew, they'll have like specific unique stats and skills who can augment on your own. But if you're not a very good pilot, you can hire an NPC, which is a pretty cool idea to have an expert pilot. You can help improve your ship combat abilities. So the feature I'm most interested in is, of course, the customization, making the ship align to what you want and how you're going to make it, so it's got the best attributes for you. But we will see when it lands. Number 1. So you're going to be able to start building your own base on your planet. So you can use that as a shelter, to store items, build machines, mines, add resources. Your space base needs power to function, so a little bit like Fallout 4, this is going to be a little bit of a complex system than other games. So the power system is going to be a little bit fiddly, but on a cool feature, there's going to be isometric view of the base building, so you can snap parts together, which looks great and makes it much easier to build the larger parts of your base. But just being able to see it in relation to the environment is going to be a big help. So just covered like earlier in regards to the ships, NPCs can be hired for staff your bases, to support the settlement, very similar to Fallout. And in many ways, the base building looks like a continuation of the idea from other games. It does look like this would be better. And if the base building isn't your thing, you can still buy houses. So the major cities all sound like they've got their own places to buy it. So you can store your loot, you can rest, you can charge up. Even some of the side quests may be connected to them as well. So there may be an incentive to buy your own house or develop your own. So it definitely sounds like it's a cool idea. Obviously, you're looking to live out your own life, so Bethesda will see how they'll accommodate you. So in conclusion, reviewing the 5 elements there, I don't think the game's going to be perfect, but I don't think it's going to be a disaster either. I know we are going to see when it launches what the output is. And of course it's got critics, of course it's got people reviewing what's initially come out and slandering it, saying it's not what's expected. I think Bethesda have been quite clear throughout. As long as they meet their expectation, the game will be a success and it will land positively. But let us know what you think about it. What are your expectations of the game? Are you even going to be buying it? Or have you written it off already? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you've enjoyed the video, please think about subscribing. And if not, I'll see you in the next one.